Now it's being stated that the Massive 8 will be a tournament, most likely bracket style, but also it will be used in the majority of teams to pull those great Pokemon. So for the teams in this video, I listed variations of 3. So let's start with Mr. Champion himself, Leo. Now let's get this obvious VMAX Charizard out of the way. It's the strongest Pokemon, and of course we expect to see. From there, we can pair him up with Dragapult and Aegislash. As Dragapult is the only other Pokemon we've actually seen him use, and Aegislash is perfect for the representation of Sword and Shield. But of course, I have other options, as we could switch out Aegislash for Cyberstone, which could be a great Pokemon for coverage and overall a strong Pokemon. Lastly, I wanted to throw in a funny Pokemon that could pose a unique challenge in a battle, which is Mr. Rod. Being an Ice and Psychic type with all those dance moves, he can have a pretty unique battle style. Also, these seem to be the best picks because these are team members from Sword and Shield for Leon. Now next up is the Queen herself, Cynthia. And I've mentioned this before, she has some of the most potential for a team within the Massive 8. Her obvious Pokemon and ace is none other than Garchomp, which of course is strong by itself. Alongside Garchomp, I see her having a kind of Pokemon like Roserade and Gastrodon. These are both stable to her team, and you see both in that. Another option that can bring true power is Tomomo and Milotic. Milotic is a very strong Pokemon, not to mention it's something to be feared in every version of facing Cynthia. And Tomomo is a recent I knew some way, somehow, it has to make it into the PWC. Or, how about Togekiss and Glaceon? I think this could work by adding a flying type to the team just to switch up the battle quite a bit. And to be honest, any of these choices will be great. And for honorable mentions, I also want to say Spiritomb or Electron will be awesome as too. Taking up next is Steven. Now, of course, he's going to have a Metagross and Mega Metagross. There's no way the anime would miss out on showing this shiny Pokemon. But I can say it will be possibly paired up with Azon and Almolda, with the most strong Pokemon and one who actually used in previous games. Not to mention Azon has been used in the anime, and of course, Mega Azon is a thing. But if we want to switch it up, how about Skarmory and Berserker? Again, Skarmory could be a great Pokemon to switch up the flow of battle by taking to the skies and representing for the OG Steel Flying type. And Berserker is a new Steel type Pokemon, which we haven't seen in action. And I would love to see Steven use this to rip any other Pokemon to shreds. Next up is the champion of Kanto and Johto, being Lance. His ace, of course, is the shiny Gyarados, which is a shoo-in and of course will be seen in battle. But there's one thing most fans don't want, and that's just an overuse of dragons, as Ash has faced a lot of dragons so far in Journey. And that's kind of tough for Lance as he's known as the Dragon Master. Nonetheless, I think this team of Dragonite and Aerodactyl alongside Gyarados would be perfect. Dragonite is easily seen as Lance's main ace from most media perspective, and Aerodactyl is just a nice switch from a non-dragon, dragon-type Pokemon. But for another option, how about Hydreigon, which is a Dragon Lance actually used in the Pokemon World Tournament within Black 2, White 2, or even Salamence, which also comes from that same list, and of course is a strong Dragon-type Pokemon. It'll be hard to get away from dragons with Lance, but at least you know his will be pretty strong. Now it's time for Diantha, which probably has the least amount of change, and we really got to see her within the XY series. So obviously, she'll have Mega Gardevoir for her ace, and I think it should be accompanied by Tyrantrum and Gorgat. As Tyrantrum is a nice contrast between her model persona and the actual beast dragon-type Pokemon, and Gorgat could actually complement the model style. Not to mention the typing is pretty good. All of these Pokemon are Pokemon we've seen from her team from the game perspective. So I just coming back to the end. Now it's time for some fun with Alon's team. Now again, Charizard or Mega Charizard X will be making a clear appearance due to Alon having a new Mega Ring. That's only if they're supposed to. Now for the first variation, I'm doing Tyranitar and Bisharp. Now both these Pokemon made their chances in the showdown between Ash and Alon. Next to them came back. The Bisharp was a beast in battle. And Tyranitar is one of the exclusive legendaries he has at his disposal. But let's change it up. Why not give him a Corviknight? This Pokemon fits his color scheme and aesthetics very well. It could be a great replacement for his crappy bird, crap Spencer. Or what about another Galar favorite, that being Toxicity? Specifically the low people. I think this is another Pokemon that would fit Alon very well. And I can see Alon bringing in his own electric type Pokemon to go against Pikachu. Either way, I know his team is going to be useless. So we have Iris here, another dragon type mate. Well, we know her ace to be Haxorus, which is a cool dragon, and I hope to see more of its skills since it's battle with that. Of from there, we have the OG team members that I think you can have, the Dragon Knight and of course, Executor, which are both proven to be tough or even maybe a moment. Just to switch up a little bit, could be another awesome pick. Now, as far as it goes, I have two other options, which could be bangers if it happens. First, I'll say Dracozold. Now, if you remember, it actually seems that Iris was interested in a maze by Acid Dracozold. So I wouldn't be surprised if she traveled to Galar to be her own fossil. Luckily, this new Pokemon is still a Dragon type, but actually electric typing as well, making it a pretty unique Pokemon. And the other option could be a Pokemon capable of Q-Max, that being Lapras. Now, you may think this is a weird case, but she actually uses one of her team on numerous occasions within the game. Plus, with no Melody in sight, this would actually work to show off this brand new form of Lapras. Now we have Ash, and this is by far the hardest one. So I'll say this, Pikachu of course is his base Pokemon and his main Pokemon. Alongside that, I can see Lucario being used for 2 out of the 3 battles for the tournament. And then from there, the last Pokemon will be a rotation of the other 4 Pokemon from his team. The major issue is we don't know if Ash will bring back more Pokemon. If he does, that could change the game completely. So for this video, I'm only going to do the Journey team. And again, we'll see Pikachu, Lucario, and then a rotation of the other 3. But I'm curious, if you guys like an entire video dedicated to Ash's returning Pokemon, and possibly who would face what the teams would look like,
Many bird rates towards Snapburst as your ultimate capture.
Teams for all the matches, well, kinda Ash. Again, these battles between right around the corner, and I cannot wait to see what they'll bring. Be sure to let me know which teams that you like the most, and what Pokemon you hope that these champions will bring. Again, be sure to like up the video, subscribe to the channel for new content every week, and don't forget to hit the notification bell to be notified for that content. Besides that, I will see you guys in the next video.
Choose your next adventure with Avion.
We've never been so ready to get back up there. No matter how you stay active, Coppertone Sports Sunscreen has
Oh my goodness, so this is one of the rare times where a video topic that we end up discussing becomes a bigger thing after that video comes out. Now, correlation does not equal causation. I'm not trying to imply that, hey, because we made a video talking about the Vancouver Canucks and the second overall pick for the Devils yesterday, everybody's now talking about that because of my video. That's not what I'm saying here. I'm just saying that after we uploaded our video, talking about the Canucks potentially making a trade for a second, this topic really started to pop off on Canucks radio, or not Canucks radio, but Sportsnet 650 radio, Canucks Twitter, Canucks social media. This second overall conversation is a lot more bigger than I thought it was when we made our video yesterday, and it's kind of shocking to me to see that. Earlier yesterday, there was an even bigger segment on the radio after we published our video saying, hey, could the Vancouver Canucks trade for the second overall pick with the New Jersey Devils? Dan Reed show and Satyr Shah talked about it on air. And I saw that and I was like, oh, okay, so that's really like a thing now. I guess we kind of beat him all to the scoop, so pat myself on the back for that one. But let's say, for all intents and purposes, the Vancouver Canucks, they do it. They get second overall. How they do it, I don't care. The fact is they have a pick. I wanted to focus on who the Canucks could probably take, because when it comes to what Jeff Merrick said on the latest episode of the 32 Thoughts podcast, we might have ourselves some indicator as to where the Canucks' sights might actually lie. Eric on 32 Thoughts says, they asked prospect Uri Slavkovsky about playing center. He has played center before. He responded that a few teams have asked him if he would be able to play center at the NHL level. The 2 teams he named that asked him were New Jersey and Vancouver. As we know, the NHL Draft Combine is going on, so teams, executives, media people, they're all over there in the prospect spaces asking them questions about everything. They're asking them questions about their play. They're asking them questions about the NHL. They're asking them questions about the other questions they've been getting. And that's what they did with Slavkovsky. Hey, can you play center? He said a few teams have asked him already that. And he said Vancouver and New Jersey were those teams. Now, the reason this is a big deal is because, well, okay, you don't need me to tell you why. This is what Friedman said. He wonders why Vancouver would even ask. They're picking 15th. Slavkovsky won't be there. Merrick suggested the idea that maybe the Vancouver Canucks move up. And Friedman responded by player that, as we noted in previous scouting report videos, he's 6'4". He's a big dude, but he's a winger. And he's a guy who in the SM Liga did not produce at nearly the same rate as some of the other SM Liga prospects to draft eligible players before. Capo Caco, Patrick Laine, Pugliarvi, you have other guys at the top of their drafts like Barkov and Lundell. Slavkovsky was nowhere near the realm of these players when it came to point production in the SM Liga. He had 10 points in 31 games. Thing is, though, he absolutely exploded at the World Under-18s, he exploded at the World Championships, and he exploded at the Olympic Games. And all these tournaments have boosted his draft stock so much into showing off to scouts what this guy could be at his very best. Now, what he has been at these tournaments was a lot different than what he was at the SM Liga's TPS Turkey team, but there still is a long-term projectability with this prospect. I said it a few times, I do think that if Slavkovsky pans out to his ceiling, he could be a discount Rick Nash, despite the fact that he's big. He's not a power forward guy who's going to go out there and just body check everybody and take boarding penalties. He's a lot more of a skilled finesse player that plays very well with the puck on his stick. He's good along the boards, he's good at making plays. And because of the sky-high potential, he is the consensus ranking, or excuse me, consolidated ranking of 3rd overall. The highest ranking over here on Elite Prospects is Sportsnet. They have him at 3rd. And the lowest one is McKeon's. They have him at 7th. So this is, for all intents and purposes, a top 5, top 4 pick, pretty much. And it's gotten to the point now where even the New Jersey Devils fans at 2nd overall are saying, hey, you could probably take this guy. The center argument, though, is interesting. As we noted, Slavkovsky has 2 million left winger the entire time he's been playing with TPS and for all these different versions of Team Slovakia. Seeing him make the transition to center would be a big shift from what he'd been used to the past few years. But he did say he thinks he could actually do that. Cam Robinson, a scout for Elite Prospects, was also asked about the Slavkovsky to center argument, and he said, I was asked this early in the season. I could see Slavkovsky moving to the middle. He's a handler who plays his best with a puck and a stick, not something that a winger does often. That said, he has played virtually no center in the last 3 years. So, yeah. It is just really interesting to me, though, the fact that the Devils and the Canucks are the 2 teams that have asked this guy, hey, can you play center? Do you need to do that? We know you play wing, but you want to try the center position? For New Jersey, it's especially interesting because this is a team that, as we have noted, they've already had some pretty good center drafts over the past few years. Obviously, Houston this year being the 1-1 is amazing. And your 2nd overall pick this year, if you take Logan Cooley, there you go. That's another potentially top-line caliber center. For Slavkovsky, though, if you really wanted to say, okay, let's take Slavkovsky and move him to center as well, if this guy is able to really control the middle of the ice in the same way he's controlled the perimeter throughout the past few tournaments he's played, then you could be getting yourself an absolute gem of a hockey player. Maybe a player who's a little bit more straightforward than a Quinton Byfield, but not as skilled as that guy is, if he does pan out. Now, for Vancouver, it's especially interesting, because I mean, look, if you're going to lose out on JT Miller and you're going to replace those minutes with somebody else, I mean, look, Bo's already on the team, Team's already on the team, they already have their own responsibilities. If you're going to have another center taking the reins of what a JT Miller has, I can understand them asking some of the top prospects of this year's draft, hey, center, you want to play center? You can do center? But of course, it's only should that potentially draft that player in the first place. And as Elliot Friedman noted, the Vancouver Canucks are not in the territory to draft Slavkovsky at all. This is a top 5 pick, and the Vancouver Canucks are picking at 15. So unless that New Jersey 2nd overall JT Miller thing is what is actually going to happen here, there isn't really a productive reason for the Vancouver Canucks to have this conversation to Slavkovsky in the first place. Now, if you were to ask me personally, and the Vancouver Canucks were to jump up to 2nd overall with the New Jersey Devils in a trade for JT Miller, would I personally want to draft Slavkovsky? I would probably say no. I would prefer taking a Logan Cooley because I do think that the likelihood of Logan Cooley fulfilling his potential is a lot higher than Slavkovsky's. However, I also would not discourage the idea of taking any of those top 2 right-hand defenseman players that are also at the top of the draft. David Sealer and David Jiricek. These 2 are also just fantastic players that could project into top 4 locks and potential top 2s if they really do pan out. And it's really difficult to put a price tag on that. Like for David Jiricek, for example, he's a guy that hasn't had the best season because he's been injured throughout the year. But this is a player who, if he pans out, could be like a Lawrence Seider 2.0. And if he gets a player who is as good as Seider, and he's as skilled and refined and defensively responsible as Seider is, while also having point production capabilities, is that a second overall guy? Is that a fifth overall guy? Is that a seventh overall guy? It's tough to really say, right? So I do think if the Vancouver Canucks go to second overall, they're going to get a good player. But for Slafkovsky specifically, drafting him second above Cooley and Nemec and Jiricek and shifting him over to center, it's so ambitious that I don't think it would really be worth it. Like, if it works out, it works out. You have yourselves a big, powerful, skilled, strong forward at center who can score goals and make plays, but I really do like how Slafkovsky plays around the perimeter of the ice. I don't know how well his game would translate if you give him the responsibility of commanding the middle of the ice and the middle of the zone. Cam Robinson says that he's more open to the idea of Slafkovsky playing center, but I don't know, the guy hasn't played center in a long time, so it's going to be a pretty interesting transition if a team drafts him second overall and decides to put him there. It's happened before, like, don't get me wrong, Pierre-Luc Dubois was a guy that used to be a primary winger for the Cape Breton Screaming Eagles in 2015-16. We made a video talking about how Pierre-Luc Dubois was a really good winger back then, but that guy is now obviously a center, and he's a pretty good one at that. But the difference with Dubois was that he already had this two-way, responsible center side of his game back in the queue, and he did play some shifts as a center back then as well. So it isn't really the same here. You're taking Slafkovsky, who has only played left wing, and asking him to shift to a different position where he's responsible for more of the ice, and he's relied upon in different ways. So I'm really interested to see where it goes, but talk in the comments on your thoughts about both the Canucks and the New Jersey Devils asking this guy, hey, can you play center? Is it noteworthy to you how Vancouver is a team that's even doing that because they're at 15th overall? What are your thoughts on the Vancouver Canucks potentially moving up to second? If you hadn't already told me yesterday in the video we uploaded, then hey, let me know today, because this topic brings itself up once again, now doesn't it? I hope you enjoyed this video across my eye, and bye.
Oh yeah, describe what a vagina looks like. Yeah, I believe you. Yeah. Why are you doing? Shut up. I'm like, that ass? Somebody will fuck you. I'm so sorry.
Oh, yeah, go ahead. Go for it. By the way. Why give me a fucking off? We just made you believe that you had an option. Come on, my mom, honestly, she went like this morning. I said I didn't want to go out because I had no sleep, but it's like that. It's still
Oh my god. Really good statement. I have no idea what this says. Yeah. I think my code.
Just no moisture. Honey's cold?
Oh, wow.
Oh my god, I'm James Bond! I was so many kills from Benny, bro.
No, he's pushing this.
Wait!
I got him. There's another one. Oh no, please put this down. To your left, to your left.
I'm playing so risky right now. Which side yours, mate? Leave that fucking bastard there.
The guaranteed MasterCard from Capital One gives you a $300 to $7,000 credit limit and is great for building credit. Plus, your approval is guaranteed. Want to improve your credit and get closer to your financial goals? Apply today and enjoy the possibilities good credit can bring.
Can you do it, Robin? Can you do it? I don't know what the
Hey guys, I have to go back outside. Anyone need this? I have my favorite this is why I didn't expect to read it. No, you sound like a British musical hit. You sound like you were in this now trying to tell me Three people ahead.
Three people? No.
They're all
Whoa, what's wrong with you? Okay.
I put you over armor. You better do good. I'm just saying.
Oh, there you go. Hold up.
Oh, shit! Oh!
Did you see? It dropped on the ground. It sat there, and as I was trying to grab my load out, it jumped back up and landed on me again. Yeah. Famous last words.
I will use more than 5% of my power this month. You want to make it?
No, I think so, but I don't want to. Have you seen High School Cadet?
Wow. So you guys see my videos? She's like a crazy kind of thing. What do you want someone to be black?
That's not an answer.
No, listen. I'll watch that stuff. It's something. It's just, great women's time. So I see it's a bad ass process.
Is she Russian?
Yeah.
Oh!
There's this crazy women's time that reminds me
Damn, that was an attack. That was an attack.
don't say their names.
You're gonna go bald?